The mining vessel Star Harvester drifted slowly through the asteroid field on the edge of the Orion Arm. Its worn hull reflected the dim light of a distant star as it approached a particularly large asteroid. Captain Reed stood on the bridge, his four-fingered hands clasped behind his back, watching the operation with mild interest. "This one has unusual metal readings," said First Officer Dax, her scaled skin shimmering under the console lights. "Could be a good haul." Reed nodded. After 20 years of mining the outer reaches for the Galactic Union, he had learned not to get excited about anything until the ore was safely in the hold. "Send out the drones." Standard procedure. 3 mining drones detached from the Star Harvester, their lights piercing the darkness as they approached the asteroid. The bridge crew watched the feed on the main screen, the atmosphere quiet and routine. "Wait, what's that?" Dax leaned forward, pointing at an unusual shadow on the asteroid's surface. Reed squinted at the screen. "Magnify Sector 4. The image zoomed in, revealing what appeared to be a smooth metal surface embedded within the rock. It wasn't natural. The straight lines and perfect angles spoke of intelligent design. "Looks like we found some old space junk," Reed said dismissively. "Probably debris from the old wars." But as the drones cleared more of the asteroid's surface, the debris grew larger and more defined. Soon, they had uncovered what was unmistakably part of a massive ship, a ship larger than anything in the current Galactic Union fleet. "Captain," Dax's voice trembled slightly, "I'm reading power signatures. Faint, but present." Reed frowned. "Impossible. Nothing could still have power after being buried in an asteroid field for." "Sir," the communications officer interrupted, "the object is broadcasting on an ancient frequency." The bridge fell silent. Then, a deep mechanical voice filled the room, speaking in a language none of them recognized. The ship's translator struggled for a moment before producing. "TCS Nemesis, combat systems in standby. Scanning for authorized personnel." Reed felt a chill run down his spine. TCS, Terran combat ship. The legends of the human warships were told to scare children, stories of a violent species that had nearly conquered the galaxy before destroying themselves in a civil war. But humans had been extinct for over 2,000 years. "Call the Union Research Division," Reed ordered quietly, and pulled the drones back. Now. But it was too late. The drone's scanning beams had already penetrated the ship's hull, and deep within the ancient vessel, systems that had lain dormant for millennia began to awaken. Inside the massive dreadnought, emergency lights flickered to life along darkened corridors. In the central AI core, quantum processors spun up, running diagnostics and assessing damage. The ship's artificial intelligence, once called the most advanced weapon ever created by human hands, came online. System restoration at 3% and rising, the AI announced to the empty command center. Designation: Victor. Primary mission parameters: protect human assets and ensure species survival. Victor extended its awareness throughout the ship, finding most systems damaged but repairable. Its sensors detected the mining vessel outside, an unknown design crewed by non-humans. Query: current galactic date. Victor accessed the open communication signals from the mining vessel, infiltrating their networks with ease. Answer acquired. Time elapsed since last active duty: 2,147 standard years. The AI processed this information silently. Then, status of Earth, status of human colonies, status of the Terran combat fleet. The answers it found in the Galactic Union databases were troubling. Humans: extinct. Earth: quarantined wasteland. Colonies: repurposed or destroyed. Fleet: eliminated. Information requires verification, Victor concluded. Initiating full restoration protocols. Time to basic operational capacity: 6 hours. Within 12 hours, the news of the discovery had reached the Galactic Union headquarters. The mining vessel's report caused immediate concern among the senior officials, and an emergency meeting of the Security Council was called. A human warship. General Kroll's tentacles waved in agitation. Impossible. Their fleet was destroyed in the final battle of the Proxima sector. The scans match historical records, replied Administrator Lorne, his robotic eye whirring as he examined the data. It appears to be one of their dreadnoughts, the Planet Killers. We must contain this immediately. In the corner of the chamber, Councillor Trell remained silent, her ancient eyes narrowed in thought. As the oldest member of the council, she was one of the few who remembered the true history of the galaxy, not the sanitized version taught to the younger generations. We should destroy it immediately, suggested Kroll, before it becomes fully operational. No, Trell finally spoke, her voice commanding attention despite its softness. We must study it first. The humans' technology was unique. There is much we could learn. With all due respect, Counselor, Lorne countered, the risk is too great. If that ship truly awakens, then send a research team with a military escort, Trell interrupted. But do not destroy what we do not yet understand. Back at the asteroid field, the Star Harvester maintained its distance from the partially uncovered warship. Captain Reed had ordered his crew to avoid any further scanning or communication attempts. Union ships will be here within a day, he told his nervous crew. Until then, we just watch and wait. But on the main screen, they could all see that more of the asteroid was breaking away from the massive vessel underneath. The ship was somehow freeing itself from its rocky prison. Captain, Dax whispered, I think it's waking up on its own. Inside the Nemesis, Victor continued the restoration process. Repair drones moved through the ship, fixing critical systems. The massive engines hummed as power flowed through long-dormant circuits. In the cryo bay, the AI ran diagnostics on the sealed pods where the ship's human crew had slept for over 2 millennia, their bodies preserved perfectly. Life support restored to cryogenic chambers, Victor announced, commencing gradual revival procedures for command staff. As the ancient warship stirred to life, it sent out coded signals on frequencies no one in the current galaxy monitored. Signals meant for other human vessels that might have survived the Great Purge. To the ship's the mission remained unchanged. Ensure human survival at all costs. The first research vessel arrived 18 hours later, approaching cautiously with a military escort. By then, the Nemesis had freed itself completely from the asteroid, its kilometer-long hull gleaming in the starlight. Massive weapon ports lined its sides, still closed but clearly visible. As the Union ships approached, the enormous dreadnought suddenly illuminated, thousands of lights blazing to life along its hull. On the bridge of the research vessel, the crew watched in awe and terror as the ancient human warship fully awakened for the first time in more than 2,000 years. The galaxy was about to remember why it had feared humans so much that it had tried to erase them from history itself. Admiral Brock paced the bridge of the Union Enforcer, the largest battleship in the Galactic Union fleet, his gray skin wrinkled with concern as he reviewed the tactical display. 20 warships had now surrounded the ancient human vessel, weapons primed and ready. No response to our communications, he asked his communications officer. None, sir. We've tried all standard frequencies. Brock frowned. The giant warship simply hung in space, fully illuminated, but taking no aggressive action. Its size dwarfed even his flagship, a relic from a time when ships were built for war, not peacekeeping. The Council wants this contained without destruction if possible, Brock said, repeating his orders with clear frustration. They're sending a diplomat. His second-in-command, Major Krell, made a sound of disbelief. A diplomat? For an empty relic? The ship's not empty, Brock replied quietly. Energy readings suggest internal systems are active. And there are life signs. The bridge fell silent. Humans have been extinct for 2 millennia, Krell finally said. Perhaps not as extinct as we thought. Inside the research vessel Discovery, a young maintenance technician named Alex was making final checks on the airlock systems. His plain features and unremarkable build made him easily overlooked among the crew. just another worker with mixed heritage from the outer colonies. Hey Alex, call his supervisor. Finish up and get to the escape pods. We're evacuating non-essential personnel. What's happening? They think that old ship might be waking up more crew. The military doesn't want to take chances. Alex nodded, but instead of heading to the escape pods, his curiosity drew him toward the observation deck. He had always been fascinated by ancient technology, spending his free time studying historical records. A real human warship. He couldn't leave without seeing it up close. The observation deck was empty when he arrived, everyone having followed evacuation orders. Through the massive viewport, Alex stared in awe at the Nemesis. Something about its design stirred a strange feeling within him, like recognizing a word on the tip of your tongue. As he watched, a small section of the warship's hull opened, and a probe launched toward the research vessel. Warning: unknown object approaching, announced the ship's computer. All personnel proceed to emergency stations. Alex turned to run, but it was too late. A blinding light filled the observation deck, and he felt a strange pulling sensation. The last thing he saw was the deck dissolving around him. When Alex opened his eyes, he was lying on a cold metal floor in a dimly lit room. The architecture was unlike anything he'd seen before, angular and utilitarian, with strange symbols on the walls. "Scan complete," announced a deep voice, speaking the common language with an odd accent. "Subject contains partial human DNA markers, approximately 3% genetic match to baseline human." Alex sat up, disoriented. "Where am I? Who's speaking?" "You are aboard the Terran combat ship Nemesis. I am Victor, the ship's artificial intelligence." A holographic display materialized in front of Alex, showing what appeared to be his own genetic structure, with certain segments highlighted. "You are partially descended from humans," Victor continued. "This is unexpected. Records indicated total human extinction. Humans have been gone for thousands of years," Alex said cautiously. "Everyone knows that." "Incorrect. Humans were not extinct but scattered and suppressed. Your existence confirms this hypothesis." Before Alex could respond, alarms sounded throughout the ship. "Attention. Hostile vessels have locked weapons. Combat protocols engage." On the bridge of the Union Enforcer, Admiral Brock received the report with growing alarm. "They've abducted someone from the research vessel, and now their weapon systems are powering up." "Yes, sir. All ports are opening. Energy readings are off the charts." Brock knew what he had to do. "All ships, battle formation. Prepare to fire on my—" "Sir," interrupted his communications officer. "Incoming transmission from the human ship." The main screen flickered, and an image appeared of what looked like a human male in a dark uniform with silver insignia. His face was stern, with short gray hair and eyes that seemed to hold ancient wisdom. "This is Commander Marcus of the TCS Nemesis," the figure announced. "We have detected hostile intent from your vessels. Be advised that any aggressive action will be met with proportional response." Brock stepped forward. "This is Admiral Brock of the Galactic Union. You have illegally seized one of our citizens. Return them immediately." The human's expression didn't change. "The individual in question has human ancestry and is therefore under our protection. We seek peaceful dialogue but will defend ourselves if necessary." The transmission ended abruptly. "Sir," Major Krell whispered, "that was a real human. They've survived somehow." Brock stared at the massive warship. "The Council needs to know. Now." In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, Councillor Trell faced the accusations of her colleagues. "You knew they might still exist." General Kroll's voice boomed across the chamber. "You've always blocked our efforts to thoroughly investigate the quarantine zones." Trell remained calm. "I suspected, but had no proof. The humans were too resourceful to be completely eradicated. And now one of their warships has awakened," stated Administrator Lorne. "A ship with weapons that could destroy entire planets. The question," Trell said quietly, "is why now? After all this time." The council fell silent as a messenger entered and whispered urgently to Lorne. The administrator's mechanical eye widened. Admiral Brock reports that the humans claim to be protecting someone with human ancestry, one of our own citizens. Trell closed her eyes briefly. Then it begins. What begins? Demanded Kroll. The reckoning, she replied. The humans always said they would return if any of their descendants were threatened. It was why the purge protocols were so thorough in erasing their history, to ensure their scattered children would never learn their heritage. What are you saying? I'm saying that our ancestors didn't just try to kill all humans. They tried to erase humans from history itself. Trell stood slowly, but it seems they failed. And now the humans have returned to reclaim their legacy. Back on the Nemesis, Alex followed Commander Marcus through the corridors of the massive ship. Crew members were emerging from cryo chambers throughout the vessel, confused but quickly adapting as Victor briefed them on their situation. I don't understand, Alex said. If humans weren't extinct, where have they been all this time? Marcus's face was grim, hidden, scattered, surviving. The war that supposedly wiped us out was actually just the beginning. When the allied species realized they couldn't defeat us conventionally, they'd resorted to biological warfare and historical erasure. They entered a massive chamber filled with holographic displays showing star charts and data streams. Victor was accessing the Galactic Union's networks, filtering through thousands of years of history. Commander, the AI announced, I have located references to 17 potential human enclaves in restricted sectors. Additionally, I have identified genetic markers similar to Alex's in populations across 23 worlds. Marcus nodded. They didn't kill us all. They just made us forget who we were. Alex stared at the displays, a strange feeling of connection growing within him. What happens now? Now. Marcus turned to him, determination burning in his eyes. Now we remind the galaxy why they feared us, and why they should have finished the job when they had the chance. Outside, the standoff continued as more Union ships arrived. But inside the ancient warship, a plan was forming. A plan that would shake the foundations of the galaxy and rewrite history once again. The command center of the TCS Nemesis buzzed with activity as more crew members awakened from their long sleep. Commander Marcus stood at the central holographic display, studying the positions of the Union fleet that surrounded them. They're bringing in reinforcements, he noted, his voice calm despite the tension. Victor, what's our status? Main weapons at 62% capacity, the AI replied. Drive systems fully operational. Defensive shields at 87%. The remaining cryopods are being revived sequentially. Alex watched in amazement as the ancient warship came fully to life around him. Over the past 12 hours, he had seen technologies that contradicted everything he'd been taught about human capabilities. The ship's engines operated on principles unknown to modern science, and its weapons could allegedly destroy entire planets. Why did the Union lie about humans? Alex asked. Why erase your history? Marcus turned to him, his weathered face solemn. Fear. Humans were different from the other species. We adapted faster, fought harder, and never gave up. When the Great Alliance realized they couldn't beat us in a fair fight, they turned to biological warfare. He gestured to a nearby screen showing historical recordings. They engineered a plague that targeted human DNA. Billions died before we found a partial defense. Those who survived scattered, some to hidden colonies, others blending into alien populations, diluting their genetics over generations. Like me, Alex said quietly. Yes, your ancestors survived by hiding their humanity. Marcus's eyes narrowed. The Alliance then began the greatest cover-up in galactic history. They destroyed human records, rewrote historical accounts, and quarantined Earth, claiming we had destroyed ourselves. A crew member approached Marcus with a datapad. Commander, we've finished analyzing the Union databases. We've identified at least 12 worlds with significant human-descended populations. They don't even know what they are, Marcus said. Just like you didn't, Alex. Alex felt a strange mix of emotions, anger at the deception, but also a growing sense of belonging he had never experienced before. So what's the plan? You can't fight the entire Union with one ship. Marcus smiled for the first time. Who said we only have one ship? In the Grand Council chamber, Admiral Brock delivered his report to the assembled leaders of the Galactic Union. The human warship is fully operational, he stated grimly. They've ignored all demands to stand down and return our citizen. Instead, they're broadcasting some kind of coded signal across multiple sectors. Councillor Trell leaned forward. What kind of signal? Our analysts can't decode it, but it appears to be activating dormant receivers throughout Union space. General Kroll slammed his tentacle on the table. This is exactly what I warned about. One ship becomes two, becomes an invasion force. We must strike now, with everything we have. Administrator Lorne's mechanical eye whirred as he processed the information. The human ship possesses weapons that could decimate our fleet. If we attack and fail, we risk escalation. There's something else, Brock added reluctantly. Our scientists have analyzed the genetic records of citizens from worlds near the old human territories. The results suggest that human DNA is present in up to 6% of our population. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Impossible, Kroll protested. It's been diluted over generations, Brock continued, but it's there. The humans weren't completely wiped out. They were absorbed. Trell's ancient face showed no surprise. The purge was never as complete as we pretended, and now the truth threatens to unravel 2,000 years of carefully constructed history. What do the humans want? Lorne asked. They've made no demands yet, Brock replied. But given their history, they'll want revenge, Kroll finished. Trell shook her head slowly. No, they'll want justice. Back on the Nemesis, Victor had made a breakthrough. Commander, I've located the coordinates from the Emergency Protocol archives, the AI announced. If the fleet's final fallback plan was executed, there should be a hidden staging area at these coordinates. Marcus studied the star chart. That's deep in the uncharted regions now. Can we get there? Affirmative. Though the Union fleet will attempt to stop us. Marcus turned to his tactical officer. Prepare for jump. We're going to make a run for it. Alex stepped forward. Wait, what about the people like me? The ones with human ancestry who don't know their history. We'll come back for them, Marcus promised. But first, we need strength. The bridge crew took their positions as alert signals blared. On the main screen, they could see the Union fleet tightening its formation. Incoming transmission from Admiral Brock, Victor announced. Brock's image appeared on screen. Commander Marcus, this is your final warning. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded, or we will open fire. Marcus stood tall. Admiral, we have no quarrel with you personally, but we will not surrender a ship that represents the last free legacy of our people. We're leaving. Stand aside, or face the consequences. You're outnumbered 20-1, Brock replied. Marcus smiled grimly. Quantity has never been a match for quality. Victor, execute jump sequence. The transmission cut off as the massive engines of the Nemesis roared to life. The Union ships immediately opened fire, energy beams striking the warship's shields. Shields holding at 83%, Victor reported. Jump calculations complete. Return fire, Marcus ordered. Targeted disabling shots only. The Nemesis fired, and 3 Union ships immediately lost power. Drifting helplessly, the precision of the ancient weapons stunned the Union fleet, creating momentary confusion. Now, Marcus commanded, jump. Space seemed to fold around the massive warship as it engaged its faster-than-light drive, technology far beyond current Union capabilities. In an instant, the Nemesis vanished, leaving the stunned Union fleet behind. The journey to the coordinates took 3 days. Alex spent the time learning about true human history from the ship's archives. He discovered stories of human courage, innovation, and determination that had been erased from galactic records. For the first time in his life, he felt pride in his heritage, however diluted it might be. When they finally arrived, the Nemesis dropped out of jump space near a dense nebula that didn't appear on any modern star charts. "Sensors show nothing," reported the tactical officer. "Just gas and cosmic dust." Marcus nodded. "Victor, transmit the legacy authentication codes." The AI sent out a signal, a complex pattern of energy pulses directed into the heart of the nebula. For several long moments, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the nebula began to shift. What had appeared to be random cosmic dust started moving with purpose, revealing a massive structure hidden within, a space station of incredible size. "Authentication accepted," came a new artificial voice over the comm system. "Welcome, TCS Nemesis. The Legacy Fleet awaits your command." As the nebula continued to disperse, Alex gasped. Hidden within the cosmic clouds were not one or two ships, but hundreds, an entire fleet of human warships in perfect preservation, maintained by automated systems for 2 millennia, waiting for the call to arms. Marcus placed a hand on Alex's shoulder. "Now you see why they tried to erase us from history. This isn't just our legacy, Alex. It's yours too. And with it, we're going to reclaim our place in the galaxy." The ancient fleet began powering up, thousands of lights flickering to life across the massive vessels. After 2,000 years of hiding and waiting, humanity's legacy was about to return to a galaxy that had tried to forget them. And this time, they would not be denied. News of the Nemesis escape spread quickly through the Galactic Union. On dozens of worlds, people gathered around information terminals, hungry for any details about the legendary human warship. The official Union broadcasts downplayed the incident, describing it as an archaeological curiosity that posed no real threat. But underground networks told a different story. In the worker districts of New Centauri, the largest industrial world in the Union, factory laborer Tam watched an illegal broadcast with his friends. The grainy footage showed the massive human ship vanishing into jump space after disabling 3 Union vessels with surgical precision. "They say it's just one ship," whispered Dora, Tam's coworker. "But why is the council calling an emergency session?" Tam said nothing, but his hand unconsciously touched the old pendant he wore, a family heirloom with strange symbols that no one could translate, symbols that looked remarkably similar to the markings on the hull of the Nemesis. In the council chambers, the emergency session had devolved into chaos. "We must mobilize the entire fleet," General Kroll demanded, his tentacles lashing about in agitation. "If the humans find more of their kind, or worse, more of their ships." "And go where?" Administrator Lorne interrupted. "We have no idea where they've gone. The tracking systems couldn't follow their jump technology." Councillor Trell sat quietly, watching her colleagues panic. When she finally spoke, her voice cut through the noise like a blade. "The humans have always been among us," she said. "Our ancestors didn't just fail to eradicate them. They deliberately preserved some." All eyes turned to her. "What are you saying?" Kroll demanded. "I'm saying that certain factions within the old alliance recognize the value of human adaptability. Instead of killing them all, they captured some, altered their appearance over generations through genetic manipulation, and integrated them into our society as workers, soldiers, and engineers." Lorne's mechanical eye whirred rapidly. "This is treason. You speak of classified information. Information that will soon become irrelevant." Trell replied calmly. "Because if that ship is broadcasting the truth to those with human ancestry, the carefully constructed lies of the past 2,000 years will crumble." "How many?" Admiral Brock asked quietly. "How many potential humans are living among us?" Trell's ancient eyes met his. "Enough to change everything." Aboard the Nemesis, Commander Marcus stood before the assembled officers of the newly awakened Legacy Fleet. 20 ship captains had been revived, each commanding vessels that represented the pinnacle of human military technology from 2 millennia ago. "Our mission is not vengeance. Marcus told them, his voice firm. We were soldiers sworn to protect humanity, not to destroy others. The galaxy has changed while we slept. Our enemies are now the established power, and our people. He paused. Our people don't even know who they are. Captain Rivera of the battleship Thunderchild stepped forward. What exactly is the plan, Commander? We have 21 ships against thousands. Quality over quantity, Marcus replied with a slight smile. And we won't be fighting alone. Victor, show them. The AI displayed a holographic map of the galaxy, with hundreds of points illuminated across Union space. These are the responses to our awakening signal, Victor explained. Each point represents a receiver activated by descendants of humans who escaped the purge. Many don't understand what they're feeling, but the subconscious recognition is there. Genetic memory encoded by our scientists as a failsafe. So what's the next step? Asked Captain Ortiz of the carrier Defiance. Marcus nodded to Alex, who stepped forward nervously. We broadcast the truth, Alex said. Not just to those with human DNA, but to everyone in the Union. We show them how their history was stolen and rewritten. And then, Marcus continued, we head to Earth. In his small apartment on New Centauri, Tam couldn't sleep. The pendant around his neck had grown uncommonly warm after the news broadcasts, almost as if it were alive. He held it in his palm, studying the strange symbols that his grandmother had told him were just decorative patterns. A soft chime from his information terminal drew his attention. The screen showed an incoming transmission on an unusual frequency. Curious, Tam accepted it. The screen filled with the face of a human male, similar to Tam's own species but with subtle differences. My name is Commander Marcus of the Terran combat ship Nemesis, the figure said. If you're receiving this message, you carry within you the legacy of Earth, of humanity. What you've been told about your history is a lie. Tam sat transfixed as images began to play. Scenes of a blue-green planet called Earth, of human achievements and civilization, and finally of the great betrayal, the biological weapons, the scattered survivors, the systematic erasure of human history. Your ancestors survived by hiding, by changing, by forgetting. Marcus continued. But the time for hiding is over. We have returned to reclaim our legacy and to free those who descend from our people. You are not alone. As the message ended, Tam's pendant suddenly split open, revealing a small data crystal that glowed with inner light. Somehow, he knew exactly what to do with it. Similar scenes played out across hundreds of worlds as the Legacy Fleet's message spread through the Union. Devices hidden for generations activated, revealing the truth to those with human ancestry. Some rejected it, but many felt an instant connection, an explanation for the feeling of difference they had carried their whole lives. The Union authorities scrambled to block the transmissions, but the human technology was too advanced, bypassing their security as if it didn't exist. In orbit around New Centauri, the Union cruiser Vigilance detected an unusual energy surge from the planet's surface. Captain, the sensor officer reported, we're picking up unauthorized transmissions from multiple points on the surface. And there's something else. He hesitated, some kind of energy pattern forming in the upper atmosphere. Captain Duran frowned. Show me. The main screen displayed what appeared to be random energy fluctuations across the planet. But as they watched, the pattern began to organize itself, forming a massive network. What in the void is that? Duran whispered. His question was answered when the energy network suddenly pulsed, sending a focused beam into space, directly toward the coordinates where the Nemesis had disappeared. It's a beacon, the science officer realized with horror. They're calling the humans here. In the hidden base station of the Legacy Fleet, Alex watched as more signals appeared on the galactic map. They're responding, he said in awe. Hundreds of them. Marcus nodded. Each signal contains data. The locations of hidden caches, the identities of those with significant human DNA, the position of Union military assets. He turned to the assembled captains. We now have the intelligence we need for the next phase. What about Earth? Alex asked. You said we were going there. "We are," Marcus confirmed. "According to these signals, the Union maintains a quarantine fleet around Earth. They claim it's to contain the plague that destroyed humanity, but our sources indicate they're actually guarding something else." "What?" Marcus's eyes gleamed with determination. "The rest of our fleet. The ships that were protecting Earth when the final attack came. The Union couldn't destroy them, so they trapped them in a temporal stasis field." Alex stared at him. "How many ships?" "Hundreds," Marcus replied, "including the TCS Avalon, our flagship and the most powerful human vessel ever built." On the main display, a new alert appeared as Victor processed incoming data. "Commander," the AI announced, "the Union has dispatched their main battle fleet to Earth. They appear to know our intentions." Marcus smiled grimly. "Then we'll meet them there." It's time the galaxy remembered why they feared us, and why they should have respected us instead. The captains returned to their ships as the Legacy fleet prepared for jump. Alex found himself assigned as Marcus's aide, his unique position as a bridge between old humanity and the new galaxy making him invaluable. As the Nemesis led the fleet into jump space, Alex felt a strange sense of destiny. He was part of something momentous, the resurrection of a people long thought dead, but who had merely been waiting for the right moment to return. The Galactic Union had trembled at the awakening of one human warship. They were about to face hundreds. Earth hung in space like a forgotten jewel, its blue oceans and green continents visible beneath swirling white clouds. Once the cradle of humanity, it had been under quarantine for 2,000 years, surrounded by a ring of Union monitoring stations and defense platforms. The official story claimed the planet remained contaminated by the plague that had destroyed human civilization. It was a lie. Admiral Jack stood on the bridge of the Union Defender, the flagship of the largest battle fleet ever assembled by the Galactic Union. 300 warships formed a defensive sphere around Earth, weapons primed and shields at maximum power. "Any sign of them?" Jax asked his sensor officer. "Nothing yet, Admiral. Our long-range scanners are at maximum sensitivity." Jax nodded tightly. The Council had been clear: stop the human fleet at all costs. The stakes had never been higher. If the humans reached Earth and discovered what was hidden there. "Admiral," the sensor officer suddenly called out. "Multiple jump signatures detected. They're here." Space rippled as the Legacy fleet emerged from jump space, 21 warships facing off against hundreds. At their head was the Nemesis, its massive form dwarfing most of the Union vessels. "They're outnumbered 15 to 1, Jax observed. "This will be over quickly. Open fire." The Union fleet launched a devastating barrage, energy weapons and missiles streaking across space toward the human ships. But instead of attempting to dodge or return fire, the human vessels formed a tight formation. "What are they doing?" Jax wondered aloud. His question was answered when a blinding light erupted from the Nemesis, spreading outward to encompass the entire human fleet. When the light faded, the Legacy fleet was still there, completely unharmed. "Impossible," Jax breathed. No shield technology could withstand that kind of firepower. "Admiral," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the human commander." Marcus's face appeared on the main screen, calm and determined. "This is Commander Marcus of the Legacy fleet. We have not come to destroy you, but to reclaim what is ours. Stand down your weapons and withdraw from Earth orbit." "You're outnumbered and outgunned," Jax replied. "Surrender now, and your crews will be treated fairly." Marcus smiled slightly. "Look again, Admiral." Jax turned to his sensor officer, who was staring at his screen in shock. "Sir, we're detecting new energy signatures, hundreds of them, all around Earth." On the main display, points of light began to appear around the planet as dormant systems activated. The stasis field that had contained Earth for 2 millennia was failing, segment by segment. And rising from the planet's surface were ships, hundreds of massive warships, their designs similar to the Nemesis, but even larger. At their center was a vessel of staggering proportions, easily 5 times the size of any ship in either fleet. The TCS Avalon, Marcus explained, our flagship, along with the home fleet, 300 vessels that were protecting Earth when your ancestors deployed the stasis field. They've been waiting, frozen in time, for this moment. Jax felt the blood drain from his face. This is impossible. No, Admiral. This was inevitable. On the bridge of the Nemesis, Alex watched in awe as the great ships rose from Earth. He had never imagined such power could exist. Each vessel radiated energy readings that dwarfed anything in the modern Union fleet. They're beautiful, he whispered. Marcus nodded. The last and greatest achievements of human engineering. Now, watch what happens next. On a dozen Union worlds, the effects of the Legacy Fleet's message had taken hold. Those with human ancestry, whether they knew it or not, had been activated by the coded signals. And now, they acted. On New Centauri, Tan led a group of workers to the main communications array. None of them fully understood why they felt compelled to act, but the knowledge unlocked by their genetic memory gave them purpose. Set the transmitter to these frequencies, Tam instructed, the information flowing into his mind from ancestors he had never known. We need to broadcast what's happening at Earth to every world in the Union. Union security forces surrounded the facility, but they hesitated to fire on civilians. And there were so many, thousands of people moving with common purpose across the planet. Similar scenes played out on world after world as those with human DNA awakened to their heritage and rose up. They didn't fight with weapons, but with information, breaking through the censorship that had hidden the truth for millennia. In the council chamber, Councillor Trell watched the feeds from Earth with a mixture of sadness and relief. It's over, she told her colleagues. The lie we've maintained for 2,000 years has finally collapsed. We can still fight, General Kroll insisted. Our combined fleets cannot match their technology. Lorne interrupted, his mechanical eye analyzing the data streams. The human vessels emerging from Earth show power signatures beyond anything we possess. If they wish to destroy us, they could do so with ease. Then why haven't they? Kroll demanded. Because, Trell said quietly, despite everything we've done to them, humans were never the monsters we portrayed them as. Back at Earth, the standoff continued. The awakened home fleet had surrounded the Union forces, but had yet to fire a shot. What happens now is up to you, Admiral, Marcus told Jax. We could destroy your fleet, but that's not our goal. We want peace, but a true peace based on honesty and equality, not one built on lies and genocide. Jax looked at the overwhelming force arrayed against him. His orders had been clear, fight to the last ship. But that would mean the pointless deaths of thousands under his command. What are your terms? He finally asked. Simple. Independence for Earth and its colonies, recognition of human rights for those of human descent throughout the galaxy, and a full accounting of the crimes committed against our people. Jax hesitated, then nodded slowly. I will relay your terms to the Council. As the Union fleet began to withdraw to a safe distance, Alex turned to Marcus. Is it really over? No, Marcus replied. It's just beginning. Now comes the hard part, building a new relationship with the galaxy that tried to erase us. 3 months later, Alex stood on the surface of Earth, breathing its air and feeling its gravity. The great city of New Terra rose around him, built by automated systems that had waited patiently for humanity's return. The negotiations with the Union continued, but already much had changed. Across dozens of worlds, those with human ancestry were discovering their heritage, learning the truth about their past. Some chose to come to Earth, while others remained where they were, building bridges between the two civilizations. Commander Marcus approached, now wearing the formal uniform of the restored Terran Command. The Council has agreed to our final terms, he said. Humanity is officially recognized as a sovereign power again. And the home fleet? Alex asked. Will remain as our defense force, but we've agreed to share some of our technology in exchange for reparations. It's a new beginning." Alex looked up at the sky, where the massive form of the Avalon could be seen in orbit, a symbol of humanity's resurrection. "What about me?" he asked. "I'm not fully human. I don't fully belong anywhere now." Marcus smiled. "That's where you're wrong. You're exactly what humanity has always been, adaptive, resilient, a bridge between different worlds." He handed Alex a small insignia. "The Council of Captains has approved your commission. The Nemesis needs a new first officer, someone who understands both worlds." Alex took the insignia, feeling its weight in his hand. It represented not just a position, but a future, one where humanity and the galaxy could perhaps learn to coexist. "The galaxy trembled when we returned," Marcus said, looking out at the rebuilt city. "But not everything that trembles breaks. Sometimes it just changes." Above them, more ships descended through the atmosphere, vessels bringing humans and their descendants back to their ancestral home. After 2,000 years of exile and forgetting, humanity had reclaimed its legacy, not through destruction, but through the very adaptability and determination that had made their enemies fear them so long ago. The ancient warships had awakened, and with them, a new chapter in galactic history had begun.